Excellency Speaker of the National Assembly of Togolese Republic, Honorable Yawa Jigbogi Shegan, Excellency the Honorable Minister of Integration of the Togolese Republic, His Excellency the Honorable Minister of Human Rights of Togo, the representative of the Honorable Minister of Health and Public Hygiene of the Togolese Republic, the permanent representative of ECOWAS to Togo, the Secretary General of the Permanent Secretariat of the ECOWAS Brown Card, the Chair of the National Human Rights Commission of Togo, the Head of the National Unit of UMOA ECOWAS, the representative of the Executive Director of ARA ECOWAS, the Permanent Secretary representing the Minister of Humanitarian Action and Management of Disasters of the Republic of Niger, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Togo, dear colleagues, members of Parliament of the National Assembly of Togo and that of ECOWAS Parliament, honorable members, dear colleagues, all protocols observed. It's a real pleasure for me that we come back here again in Lomé, this beautiful capital of the Togolese Republic, whereby the ECOWAS Parliament had for the first time held its first extraordinary session in 2017 after the adoption of the supplementary act that gave birth to the enhancement of the powers of Parliament. Of course, we keep a very good souvenir of the session we had here that was preceded by a ceremony, a seminar for capacity building of Parliament. Everything was crowned by a field visit to the Togo, Ghana, and Togo, Benin borders. Here again, we're coming back to Togo within the framework of organizing a delocalized meeting with the initiative of the Joint Committee of the Community Parliaments that will focus on issues of interest and the issue of refugees and displaced persons in the majority of ECOWAS member states. Before I get into the subject matter proper, please allow me, dear guests, honorable parliamentarians, let me present to you on behalf of the ECOWAS Parliament and on my own behalf, let me express our sincere gratitude to the people of Togo. First of all, His Excellency Mr. Fo Ezozima Yasingbe, President of the Togolese Republic, whose concrete actions are in favor of regional integration are really breathtaking. The ECOWAS Parliament, through my humble person, would like to express to the President its gratitude for the support that is continuing to provide to us within the framework of the implementation of our activities and programs. Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, in March-April 2012, the north of Mali was taken over by jihadi groups, leading to the taking over of that part of Mali by obscure forces that are uncontrolled. Thus, in January 2013, France launched a military intervention and dispersed these jihadist groups. The launching of this operation was continued with Operation Barkhane that brought together 4,500 soldiers to the Sahel. In spite of all of this, vast areas of Mali are not under the control of the Malian, French, and UN forces. And in spite of the signing in 2015 of a peace agreement, which has aimed at isolating the jihadists, violence has moved from the north to the central part of the country and sometimes even to the southern part of Mali. The jihadists, who are mixing up also sometimes in intercommunal clashes. This phenomenon is something that Burkina Faso and Mali are also experiencing, of course, as neighboring countries. Indeed, the Dogon village of Sobanda, close to Bajagara in the central part of Mali, was the theater of atrocious crimes, atrocious and barbaric crimes, with a new attack on the 9th of June, leading to 35 deaths and 24 innocent children. The violences have increased in the center of Mali with another attack that is being attributed to Dogon fighters against a Fulani village of Ogosagu, close to the border with Burkina Faso, leading to the death of 160 people. In view of this situation, and then on behalf of the ECOWAS Parliament and on my own behalf, I would like to present my sincere condolences to the population of these victim countries that have experienced these abominable acts. We will want to encourage and support the defense and security forces of our member states who are working day and night to defend and protect at the price of their lives the citizens of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, members of parliament, the activity that has brought us here, as I was saying, is within the framework of the Parliament's program in terms of its 2019 programs. This is a delocalized meeting that brings together a joint committee. We have four standing committees, namely the Committee on Health and Social Services, the Committee on Agriculture, Environment, Water Resources and Sustainable Development, the Committee on Infrastructure, Energy, Mines and Industries, and the Committee on Human Rights, Protection of Children and Vulnerable Groups. These committees, supported by resource persons, will discuss the term titled The Contribution of International Organizations and Non-Governmental Organizations in providing support in terms of healthcare, housing, food and nutrition of refugees and displaced persons in West Africa, a parliamentary approach for the adoption of community standards. Indeed, according to a recent report of the High Commission of Human Rights for Refugees dating back to June 2018, the number of refugees in the world is just increasing day in, day out, because 68 million people have left their countries in 2017. This situation that is due to wars, violence and persecution have put people into forced displacement in the world and in developing countries. The situation in Africa is also worrisome, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, which welcomes about 26% of world refugees in view of current crises in this area. Thus, all the ECOWAS member states are now, all ECOWAS member states are facing the issue of refugees and displaced persons. We can mention the case of Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and Niger that are hosting, apart from internally displaced persons, they have Malian and Nigerian refugees and even other citizens coming outside of West Africa. In his quest for the well-being of people affected by the various crises in the northeast of Nigeria, and in view of doing something for their living condition, the ECOWAS Parliament, with the support of the UNHCR, has organized joint information session in this area. The conclusions and recommendations following these joint missions in these reports would help you to understand the living conditions of refugees and displaced persons living in West Africa. On my part, I would like to say that this situation should challenge us and challenge the entire world for us to be mobilized and mobilize the necessary condition for effective support for refugees and displaced persons. Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you would observe, the theme of our meeting means that we must have rich discussions so as to understand the content of this issue with regards to the general objective and the specific objectives as defined in the terms of reference of this meeting. The set objective is to put in place an harmonized framework in terms of intervention for healthcare, housing, food and nutrition of refugees and displaced persons in view of their socio-economic reinsertion. To this end, we will have, among other things during this meeting, understand the ECOWAS policy in terms of supporting refugees and displaced persons in West Africa, evaluate the intervention of organizations apart from state entities that are in charge of supporting MPs, supporting the refugees and proposing alternatives and proposing the community standards in regards to healthcare, housing, food and nutrition of displaced persons and refugees. Madam Speaker, distinguished guests, in spite of the not interesting result that we have, the ECOWAS Parliament recognizes all the efforts that have been made by the member states of the region in providing succor to refugees and displaced persons in our territory. The ECOWAS Parliament recognizes and salutes the efforts made by international organizations and non-governmental organizations at the national level for their inestimable contribution to support the efforts provided by states in taking care of refugees and displaced persons in the camps that are created to this effect. The ECOWAS Parliament does salute the active solidarity of citizens of the ECOWAS community in hosting people from other member states that have left their place of origin for many reasons. The situation is worrisome because over and beyond the satisfaction of meeting the basic needs of these vulnerable people, we need to keep in mind the case of numerous children that are also moving around with their parents. For this, the issue of their education is at stake. In our own opinion, our efforts should be coordinated and harmonized in view of defining appropriate community intervention standards. This is why our institution, in collaboration with its partners, notably the UNHCR, the ICRC, and of course with the support of other invited resource persons at this meeting, we would have to reflect on a more efficient intervention mechanism in terms of providing succor to the refugees and displaced persons. This is to say that from Lomé, we must launch a call to this end. This is the approach of the ECOWAS Parliament to really make sure that we pool our efforts together in defining adapted standards to this context. I do hope that this call would be supported by all relevant actors, while I also call for active solidarity between member states and the international community. We need to take more action in order to act for the benefit of refugees and displaced persons. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, dear guest, please allow me once again to express my sincere gratitude to the people of Togo for their unity, their solidarity, and their support to the elected president for Eyadema. Having said this, I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you. Obrigado.